Welcome. It is your boy King Crowder back again with another untold gem about the entire story of American history. We're only taught history from one perspective. What I am here to do is shed light on the other things that are not taught. Did you know that Oklahoma was the first black state of black Americans? Did you know that most of the people that had our most successful stories and icons migrated and made the state of Oklahoma pop? Let me give it to you, y'all. Oklahoma, remember when we had the Trail of Tears, when many black Americans were forced to migrate from Florida up until Oklahoma when they agreed to a treaty with the Seminoles? Did you know that black Americans had a land grab and they were severely prospering? Oklahoma had a land of natural resources, land and oil. Many of the black American self-made millionaires, gurus came to this town because it was prosperity. If you take a look into our previous video about the tremendous success of Tulsa, Oklahoma, and what happened with the tragedy of Black Wall Street, you will know how vibrant of a community the state of Oklahoma truly was. Remember, doing what we learned during history in our class about manifest destiny, which is truly a tragedy. How can you manifest destiny of land that was already operated and lived on by many native black Americans in this country? But what we do not know, or we do not emphasize and teach enough, the state of Oklahoma literally became a black operated state. Remember, when people decided to move there, when they built and cultivated the land, Oklahoma was really popping. They had sustaining businesses, sustaining black wealth, and it was a state-sponsored native event where many black Americans decided to migrate to. Most people don't realize that when people were coming to Tulsa, they were coming after being enslavement. They had their own programs to make enslavement somewhat as like halfway houses, how they rehabilitate themselves. So when they decided to go to Oklahoma, the blacks in that area had places, food, shelters, and places for them to go. They completely sustained themselves with their only self-sustaining economy. What most people don't think about is that the black Americans in this side of town began to develop themselves. And as we've seen in history, if you read it, rinse, wash, and repeat, the poor whites in that area, better known as white supremacists, really got upset. Tulsa was really working with each other, developing in their part of town and rebuilding their wealth. And the black people self-segregated themselves by pushing those that were not black out. Black people didn't purchase from other people. They didn't buy from other communities. They literally earned income and supported where they lived. This caused many black Americans, especially the leaders in this town, to become extremely wealthy and extremely vibrant. You must think, Jim Crow laws were still strictly enforced, but think of all that black wealth that was being immersed. So the whites in that area, all they could do was try to battle and go against them. And this is when you see terrorist attacks, is what we must call it, domestic terrorist attack happen in their land. The state of Oklahoma was being almost transferred to a strictly black American wealth state. People do not realize how much the vibrancy and of the history is not talked about. If you look at Freedman Town in the state of Oklahoma, you will see over 60 freedmen towns created in that state. If you look at the superb black history of Oklahomans, you will see how vibrant, how sharp, and how many of them had original starts. Most people do not know the black wealth, the black town, the black leaderships in these communities. Oklahoma does have a racist history. I will not acknowledge that. But the state of Oklahoma was literally the first black state establishment. They fought heavy against it. They lynched their superior leaders. As we discussed in previous videos, lynching was a psychological warfare crime against black leaders, professionals, and business owners. It was not designed mostly for working class blacks. It was designed to strike fear in those pulling themselves up by the bootstrap. Look at Oklahoma as a glance. We are never taught that the Oklahoma territories that were given to black and colored natives in this country was flourishing, without a doubt. They were flourishing. They had consumed wealth. They knew the oil contract treaties, and they began to outline lines for themselves. It is no coincidence why this is understudied and undertaught. History in this country is never 100% honest as it should be. It does not highlight all of the great things people in this country have done. Make sure when you get a chance, the Buffalo Museum in Houston, Texas does an outstanding job outlining these ideas. But the state of Oklahoma in its black history is truly one amazing. I'm telling you, learn it all, discover it, and you will be impressed. I hope you learned something today. I make videos to educate you on what was not taught, the complete story of American history. Today's lesson, we took a deep dive into Oklahoma, where we had the Trail of Tears and how black men began to flourish. Take this time to smash the subscribe button, pay me back, share this information with someone else. It is truly inspiring. I am here to teach you the history, the legacy of this country. We discuss the good, the bad, and the ugly. We are fearless when we attack topics. I am here to teach you what was never taught in your high school social studies classes. It's your boy, King Crowder. Check it out. Peace.